Good morning, everyone. Give me 1 second here, I'm just getting things set up. So this is like a pre-show kind of thing I'm doing right now. And the reason is that I've been doing some stuff with Amazon for a while. As you know, we've been doing all these live streams have been simulcast on Amazon at the same time they have been here on YouTube. And so today I'm going to be on, I think, the Amazon homepage because they've got like the deals of the day. So, and I'll explain this again in a second. So they sent me a whole bunch of stuff and we're going to open it up and unbox it, but I've only got like an hour to do all this in. So this is going to be like a super lightning round, but I'll probably come back and review this stuff on the extras channel, or maybe the main channel, depending on what we got here once we're going. So I am starting on YouTube because my time slot is 10 a.m. on Amazon, so I thought I would get set up now so that when my time slot begins, I can just hit a button and go live on the Amazon side. So I'm going to be experimenting with some graphics. I'm going to have this thing up here the whole time. This is their holiday dash deals. And this stuff is on sale, and again, I'm trying not to turn this into the home shopping deal, but it's going to be kind of fun. This stuff is on sale right now, so if you're looking for holiday gifts, this might be a place to start. So we're going to be looking at this JBL BoomBox, and it looks enormous. And then we're going to look at, this is all stuff that Amazon sent me, by the way, and then we're going to look at the Trio Max, which is a portable display. I'm sure you've seen these before. You kind of attach them to the side of your laptop, and I've got my laptop down there to experiment with that. And then the last thing we're going to do is the Garmin Fenix 5X, and this is a sport watch with GPS built in, and it has a sapphire face. So we're going to try to get all of this stuff unboxed as we go. So that is how we're going to do that. Let me bring in the social media titling here so that I can pull your stuff in. So let's try a few of these, and we'll start off here with Travis Rhodes. Let's see if I can have both of these things running at the same time. Yep, we can get both of those up. So Travis says good morning and hello. And we're going to have a whole new crew in this morning because we're usually like in the mid-afternoon, and today we're in the morning here in the eastern US. So some of you overseas maybe still, actually you're probably in your afternoon now, right? Because I'm like 7 hours in the other direction. So we'll probably get a good amount of European visitors today. Max Stock is here and Adam Laus is here. We have Romanik, hello. We have Jack Keaton, B. Tabalba. Mike M is here, nice watch. Yeah, we're gonna unbox it a little bit later. So the way this works is you gotta go over to the Amazon link if you want to get in on the deal, because that's the deal. So be on the lookout for that. Jonathan, this is a good one. Sport, what is this? Yeah, I don't know much about sports. I know a lot about tech, but not a lot about sport. But maybe if I had this watch, I would be all about the sports. So yeah, this looks pretty nice. Fenix 5X. And you know, the reason why you might look at something like this is that it's got, it's designed for runners. So they've got like a pretty robust PC app that it connects up with it. I'm not sure if we're going to have time to do all of that, but we will give it our best shot. So stay tuned as we play around with all of this cool stuff here. Patrick Chang is here. Welcome. Yeah, so we're just going to kind of kill some time until we get to 10 o'clock, and that's when we go live on Amazon. And actually, what I want to do real quick is I want to play, I have to start off with this slate graphic or the slate image. So let me know if this is too loud or not. Here we go. sorry, I forgot to turn my mic back on. The fact that we're still on here is a good sign. So that's good. Yeah, we're going to have to just play it by ear here. You know what I'm going to do then is I'm going to turn the headphone volume off on the music. That way I don't have to remember to turn my mic back on. So this is going to be under Holiday Dash Deals. So I'm going to go over to my settings. I'm just looking on my screen here. I'm going to turn the headphone off. And now if I play it, you should hear my audio. And yeah, so that's going and I'm going. And I don't have to worry about it echoing back. Cool. All right, that'll work. Cool. That works. All right, so the sound is good. That's good. We got the little Holiday Dash Deals. It'll be up there. And if you want in on the deal, you go over to Amazon, and you can do that. Now, what I would love for you to do is, if you're not following me on Amazon, to follow me on Amazon, because I've been seeing a lot of growth in my content over there. Because unlike YouTube, where I was late to the party, I'm early to the party on the Amazon side. So I'm doing a lot there. So that's what we're doing. So that'll be good. Yeah, so I'm just kind of killing time. So back when I was in college, we used to have a live news show. And so the news was at, what time did we do the news at? I think we did it at 4:30, but we were all like in the studio at 4, so you would just kind of kill time. So that was that was what we did there. Yeah, so hopefully that audio should work, and it looks like everyone says that both were heard, which is great. So that way I don't have to turn my mic off. So what I do is I have my mic. So right now I'm using vMix, and then my monitor that's over here, I'm going to probably move it to underneath the camera. My monitor over here that I use for controlling vMix has a speaker on it, and what I do is so vMix allows you to have different audio channels come through the headphones versus others. So what I did is I had it mute the headphone output of this mic so it doesn't echo constantly. But then if I play back a video on the screen to review it later or something, that that I will hear on the speaker. Because when I'm recording my videos, I record, and then I do the cut, and then I go back and listen. And so I don't like to have to keep muting and unmuting my mic, because as you saw, I forget to hit the switch on the mic, and then I'll do a whole nother take. I did this the other day. I do a whole nother take, and then I forgot to turn the mic on. I had a great take the other day, and I had the mic off. So you don't want that. Or if you're streaming, you don't want that either, right? So that's part of it as well. So yeah, so if you're just joining us, I am killing time right now. We're going to start this unboxing extravaganza at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And that's going to be a simulcast on Amazon. And I think, if I am not mistaken, this will be like in the deal section of Amazon. And I think it's on the homepage too. So it's going to be kind of fun. We're going to be doing some cool stuff. So, and I'm so glad that I have my new connection here. So for those of you who were following my issues with my connection, we now have a direct fiber optic line right into Comcast. So now it's been, knock on wood, it's been good. So I am broadcast. So I used to broadcast to YouTube at 720p at 2.5 megabits per second, but now I do 1080p at twice that, 5 megabits. And then the other stream, which is going out at the same time to Amazon, is they only want 720p. So we've got both going out over the fiber optic. So that is good. Yeah, so we've got, about 20 minutes. It's good though, everything seems to be up and running, so that is good. And I've got a couple of more comments here. So we have Casey, who says good morning. Good morning to you. And Larry says the new bandwidth is making a big difference. Yeah, it is making a huge difference in so many ways. You know what's great is even the upload. So I've been telling people about this too, that when I upload in the morning, at night. So here's a great example. Monday is pretty much devoted to the weekly wrap-up, although if I get it done early enough, I do a live stream or something and start getting work done for the next shooting day. And one of the things that has been great about the new connection is that I can upload the video 2 hours later than I normally would. And the reason is this. On my old connection, it took about anywhere, depending on the length of the video, it would take anywhere from 45 minutes to 90 minutes to get the video uploaded to YouTube, right? So 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on circumstances. And when I got the new connection, that 45 minutes to an hour and a half became 45 seconds. I mean, can you imagine? So what does that mean? Well, it means that, you know, it used to be an hour to upload, let's say, take the average, an hour to upload, and then, you know, maybe another 30 minutes, 45 minutes to do all the work on the video. So if I was having a bad day and I uploaded at 6, it would rarely, or started uploading at 6, the video would not be published until about 7:30, 8 p.m. And I don't like to publish that late. I like to get my videos up at 6:45 p.m. on the published date. That's just my thing. That's the date, the time I set for myself. I think that's what, you know, I think what the algorithm wants is just like, it's like a child. It likes repetition. It likes that you know, sequence of events to occur. And I found that if I upload my videos at 6:45 p.m., they tend to get watched at that time because for whatever reason, that's what works. So if I get the video now uploaded even at 6:30, actually I wouldn't say 6:30. Let's say I get it uploaded at 6, it is ready by 6:45. It's done processing, it's gone through all the machinations. And so the fact that the upload has gone from an hour plus to 45 seconds means that I pick up an extra hour that I can work on stuff. So that's been good. Stephen LaFollette wants me to crack open that BoomBox. Yeah, it is first on the list. We got to wait till 10 a.m. when this starts at on the YouTube side, or I'm sorry, the Amazon side. We're going to be on Amazon. Travis wants to, yeah, I think at some point we'll start playing around with the 4K. So my plan is that I've got so much stuff that I want to get up before the holidays because my primary revenue path now is affiliate revenue. So if I'm not making videos that I can get up during holiday season, which is my busiest season, it's kind of like tax season for the accountants. So that's been my my deal right now. Sean Kuchar is here. Good morning. I wish I could do that. I'm a Trekkie and I can't do it. I really can't. It bothers me. For many years it's bothered me. So we'll see what happens there. Eric Stevenson is in here. El Balbaro is here. And Mark Dell says, I wake up and what is he doing? Talking about his connection. All is right in the world so far. So in case you're just joining us, we are about to be doing something with Amazon. So just to fill everybody in as to exactly what's going on. So let me show you the little, see that? We are going to be, for an hour, on the homepage of Amazon doing the holiday dash deals. So the dash deals this morning are, now there's more than just this, but this is what they're going to have me cover. So we're going to unbox all this stuff live on Amazon. And yeah, take a look. We got the Trio Max display here, we got the BoomBox, and we've got the Garmin. So B Tabalba wants to know if I am going to stream the Crew 1 launch tonight. I might. We'll see what happens. It depends on family time, so I will let you all know. So we'll see what happens. Larry Smith wants to know, do I have a price agreement with Comcast to reduce? No. So what's funny about this Gigabit Pro thing, this is the least efficient product that they offer. And the reason is that even though I have it, they can't, like, just because like they ran the wire down the street, it doesn't make it any easier for anyone else to get it because this is basically a Metro Ethernet connection. So they can't just split it like you would on one of the multiple fiber products. So if I'm trying to think who would benefit from this. So my neighbor across the street could get it, and the two neighbors behind me could get it. But that would be the only benefit because after that, they'd have to run additional fiber pairs. And what's interesting is for the way this works, I think they were out of fiber pairs to begin with because they had to put something called the GPON on my pole. And the GPON converts the fiber optic. It takes the color of the light that my thing in there is transmitting. So this optical signal It's not going through anything. It goes from here all the way to the Comcast head end about 6 miles away. It's pretty amazing. Just from that closet, it just can go that far. And when it gets there, it's sharing its pair of cable with others on the same pair, but the wavelength of light on each of those signals is different. Isn't this amazing? So I think they said they can do 8 to 10 gigabit streams on the same pair of wire, which I think is just absolutely mind-boggling how this works. And it's all passive. So there's no electrical thing on the pole there. It's just going through a prism, and that's changing the wavelength. And then when it gets to the other end, I'm guessing there's 2 other devices that are looking for that wavelength, and it can break it back out into separate signals. I mean, it's just magic to me. I don't even know how all this works. So we'll see what happens. El Barbaro wants to know if am I going to sell this? Well, Amazon sent this to me, so I can't sell it. But I think I send it back to them when it's done, because they might want to have other creators do stuff with it. Tech Guy wants to know, am I still getting a cap on my bandwidth? No, so I have no cap at all. There are some things. So there are some things that I can't do with it. So for example, I couldn't decide to start my own ISP for the neighborhood, right? You can't. There's certain terms of service that I can't do with it, but there's no deal there. And I think Starlink is going to be a big deal. Hector, he's in Puerto Rico, and the best ISP is 250 megabytes. So David Good wants to know, do I have any more thoughts on the Lenovo Flex 5? I don't. I think it's a good value. I haven't, I don't often keep, some things I keep long term, but on the Lenovo stuff, mostly because those are on loan, I send those back. So I haven't had long-term hinge experience with that one, but I know that they've been working on the hinges over time to make them a little better. So I think that's probably going to be better. So give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to go grab some water just to have it nearby here, because I got to go for an hour straight. And I'll try to take questions as we go. We're going to get started in about 10 minutes. And in about 5 minutes, we're going to be, let me just grab a water bottle out of here. And in about 5 minutes or so, we are going to go dark for a little bit, because I have to have the slate up, and I want to just have like 3 or 4 minutes of that slate being up, and then when things kick over at 10, we'll start the slate video. Sean's asking about the new Mario Game & Watch. You know, when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's so cool, because I love all this retro stuff. And I was like, I want to get one of those things. And I was like, you know what am I going to do with it? Because I know that'll be something like I'd pick up once and play with it and then just kind of put behind me there. I guess maybe it'd be kind of neat for the set. Maybe I'll try to get one and see. So we'll see what happens there. Adam Louse has a good question. Actually, I experienced this the other day, as a matter of fact. If we have a power outage, how does it affect you? So my understanding is, and I haven't had a long enough duration outage to confirm this, but from what the guy said to me when he was hooking it up, when it goes from here out to the head end, because there's nothing in between and the head end is powered, provided my generator here is working, I should stay up, even if it's a long duration outage, because there's no amplification between me and there. So it should work throughout. And oh, you know, I forgot to mention that, Mark Dell, about the COVID test. Yeah, so we all got tested. We were all negative, and we had the PCR test, which is they call it the gold standard. So we are definitely negative. But her class had a, you know, there was I think there was 3 staff members that served that classroom. Were all, you know, they were all, you know, there was a good amount of exposure in that class and a bunch of positives, but thankfully we're okay. So so far so good. And I think actually my theory is that so for those of you who've been watching me for a while, as you know, I went to CES back in January. And when I got back, on the way home, I started feeling progressively worse and worse. And to make matters even worse, given how I was feeling at the time, just because I was feeling ill. This is back in January, so it's not recently. I'm on the way back in January, and my plane gets delayed. And it was the worst kind of delay because our plane from Las Vegas had to get the 737 equivalent of a jump start to get going. It took them forever to get the plane going. So we missed the connection. But the worst part was the connection was at the gate, but they had closed the door. So I couldn't get into the plane, right? And the longer I'm sitting in Baltimore, and I'm no knock against Baltimore's airport, but the longer I'm sitting there, the worse I'm feeling. So I went and got some chicken soup at the diner there, and that didn't help. And yeah, I just felt like, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to have to go home and go to sleep. And the night before, what's interesting, the night before I left, I was feeling exhausted in a weird way. I was just like completely drained. And I chalked it up to the fact that we'd been running ragged all over the show floor. And CES can take a lot out of you because you're constantly moving. And the sleep wasn't that great either because I had to get, I want to get content up during the event because that's why you're there. And so I'm up late just trying to make sure that the upload completes. The bandwidth in Las Vegas was totally zapped everywhere. You couldn't get a fast upload. So I'm sending back, 2 gigs of edit videos for Jake to edit overnight, and it was super slow. Thankfully, Final Cut Pro now, there's ways to make it more efficient. But back then, it was 2 gigs I had to upload at 2 megabits. So, not a lot of sleep. And I chalked it up to that. I'm in Baltimore. I'm feeling worse and worse and worse. I get home and, got in the car, drove home. I get home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I take my temperature. I'm 103.5. And I'm like, oh my God. I felt like lousy, but I was like, I'm really in bad shape here. So I sequestered myself in my bonus room just to stay away from my wife and the kids. And this is before everybody thought COVID was here, right? So I am sick. I've got not a bad cough, but I had a little bit of a cough. I did not have any cold symptoms. I had a fever that just would not go away. And I felt, it was like flu-ish, and then I had a little bit of GI, like a whole, just like everything that you're hearing about. And then people that came in contact with me got ill. And I wasn't out doing stuff, but my wife had one of these pampered chef parties the day after I got back. And I wasn't around anybody. I was completely hidden away. But a kid came up, one of the kids that was there came up into my room because he was exploring the house. And he used the bathroom that I was using. And then 3 days later, he got sick. And his family got sick. And it kind of went on from there. So thankfully, nobody was dangerously ill. But it was definitely an upper respiratory thing that went around the circle at that time in January, February, before anybody thought it was here. So, I think my daughter's class would have been worse had it not been for whatever I brought home from CES. And I took an antibody test. I still have no idea what it is because I was negative on the antibody. The kid who caught it, whatever it was for me, was negative for flu and strep. So there you can assume perhaps something from that. But I don't know. And I can't tell you more because of confidentiality on the classroom, but it was interesting to see how that transpired within her class. But thankfully, everybody is okay. Those who were symptomatic are feeling better. So it was good. And Sean Kuchar says the jump start, is called a huffer cart. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Blow air pressure through the engine to spin it fast. And it was funny because people were freaking out like, oh my God. I'm like, look, when the jet engine is started, it's fine. It's just the starter is not necessary for it to operate. It's just necessary for it to start. So you're going to be totally, totally fine with that. But yeah, it took them forever to get that engine going. So Casey enjoyed the CES coverage. Yeah, we try to keep things as simple as possible. That is what we try to do. All right, so I'm going to go dark here for a minute, everybody, because I've got to start my transmission to Amazon. So you're going to see, and I'll just put it in the chat also, if anyone popping in here is wondering what's going on. I'm going to go live on Amazon, and then at 10, we're going to start the music, and we'll kind of go from there. So I'm going to hit the live button. My audio is going to be off for a minute or two here, so just hang around, and we'll be back up and unbox all this stuff in a minute. So good morning everyone on Amazon, and we are going to be unboxing a whole bunch of stuff that is currently a holiday dash deal, and I'm looking forward to doing all of that. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Lon.TV. I do a lot of tech content on YouTube and here on Amazon. I stream a couple of days a week here on Amazon as I'm doing different product review videos. You can find my videos all over Amazon as well, and if you are new to me or new to the channel, I always try to answer questions, so please ask down below in the chat. Now, I've only got an hour here to go through a lot of stuff, and so we're going to work really quickly here, and again, I'll try to get questions answered, and some of these will come in from my YouTube audience as well. So let me get all this stuff off of the first item we're going to unbox, and this one was kind of fun. This is a BoomBox, and for those of you who look behind me, you'll see I have kind of an homage to my midlife crisis of 80s stuff. And of course, in the 80s, we remembered those boomboxes that people used to walk around with. You know, they'd blast music on their shoulder. Well, this is the modern day equivalent of that. And I am looking forward to trying this out real quick. Now, this is a Bluetooth speaker, of course, so you're not going to play your cassette tapes on this thing, but it is probably going to be just as loud. So let's take a look at this. This is from JBL, and what's neat about this, in addition to the fact that it can play your music at high volume, is that it has some waterproofing. I wouldn't submerge it, but it can survive a day at the beach and get splashed on and everything else. Looks pretty cool. It's pretty hefty also. I think it's got a lot of bass on it as well. It probably will have to have that given its size. And as you can see here, this thing is really tight. It's got a nice gasket around that to keep everything safe and secure. Now, it's got a big battery on it, so it should last you the whole day at the beach, they say. And the other thing that's neat about it, let's see if it has any juice on it right now, is that the battery can also be used as a, yeah, it's starting up right now. It can also be used as one of those chargers for your phone. So what you can do with this is charge your phone while you're playing music from it, so your phone doesn't die while you are enjoying music. So it's got a nice big 20,000 milliamp hour battery. And I'm going to connect my phone up to it right now. And let's see how it works. All right, we're hooked up. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to this. We're not going to be able to get to everything, just given the time constraints that we have. But I'm going to load up a music player here real quick and play some music on it. And I've got some YouTube safe music. This one's called I Feel Like Partying Right Now. Oh yeah, it's got some bass to it. Look at the, I don't know if you can see that kind of vibrating there. Let's see. Yeah, let me zoom in on that. It's kind of fun. See if I can get a good shot of it here. It's like you can see it moving. See that? Isn't that cool? So it's got some visual stuff while you're going there. And again, simple Bluetooth speaker, but you got the ability to charge stuff on it as well. I think that's pretty cool. So that is neat. So that is that. Amir Robinson is asking, is it waterproof? Yes, it is waterproof. They said it is an IPX7. And I can tell you from the back here, like the biggest areas of concern would be where you have ports and electrical connections. So this door here is super, it's got a super big gasket on it. So it should keep you pretty safe and secure there. So yeah, I don't think it's, again, I wouldn't submerge it in water, but you could certainly use it by the beach or the pool, and if it gets splashed on or whatever, it should be fine. But again, I wouldn't put it up in there. Andy says, I'm always up early. I am always up early. I've got 2 young kids, so I have no choice. And somebody else was asking, I think Mark was asking, does it fit on your shoulder? It does. And if this is the most, like, would you ever see me? Those of you who watch me, this would never work. I'm a 44-year-old dad, right? So, but you know, if you're younger, you can relive what your parents used to do with their cassette boom boxes. And if you don't know what a boom box is, look it up, because this is what they used to do. And yeah, there's no skipping because it's all solid state, right? Pretty cool. Yeah, someone's going to grab that visual and see what happens there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like this. It's really rugged. It feels good. Let's take a look and see what else is in the box before we move on. Because I've allocated about 20 minutes per product here, so I think we should be able to spend a little bit more time answering your questions. So let's see what else we got in here. So we've got a nice big charger, and you kind of need a good amount of juice to charge this thing quickly because it's got that big battery on it. So you've got the power cable here, but as you can see, the battery was charged when we got it. And then we've got the instruction guide here, and let's see what we've got here. Eric wants to know, where do you put the cassette tape? Unfortunately, you will need to get yourself a Bluetooth cassette player to make that happen. So there you go. Yeah, so it looks like you can charge on the 2 USB ports that are on the back here. So again, if you plug your phone into it, now when you do open this up, your waterproofing is a little less, right? Because this has got like a super strong gasket on it. So for true waterproofing, you're going to want to keep things unplugged. But if you're out at the beach, your phone's starting to die, plug it in. It'll charge the phone. So you can do that. It is a speaker phone, so you can actually conduct your conference calls on this thing. That's cool. You have music control, so you can control the tracks. It supports your voice assistant through their app. There is an app for it, of course. And then you can connect these together. So you can actually wire these things up with each other and get everything synchronized. That's pretty cool too. So yeah, and I'm just seeing this for the first time. I think it's always fun to kind of unbox this stuff live and explore the product together. So I thought that's kind of the way I like to do stuff. Got some questions in here. So Corey says, does it bump? It does bump. As you saw, those things were jumping there a minute ago. Dakisha asks, is it good for outside? Absolutely. I think it should work fine outside. It's waterproof. So if it's raining or something, it won't affect it. Kay is wondering, does it have a remote control? No, it doesn't, but it is just a Bluetooth speaker, so your phone would be the remote control. And you could obviously have the phone a good distance away from it without issues. Mark is wondering, does it have an aux in? Oh, that's a good question. So you could hook up your cassette player. Let's take a look. Yes, there is an auxiliary input right here. So you could plug it in right there. Yep, no problem on the aux input there. So that will certainly work. And again, it's good for outside because it is waterproof. And I'm not sure what this does here. There's like an outdoor and an indoor. Let's take a look at that in the manual real quick and see what that button is for. So let's go back through that's the Bluetooth connection. Oh, so it actually has an outdoor mode. I wonder if that makes it louder. Let's take a look. So this is the outdoor mode now. Let's see if it blows me out of my room. Mark says it would be weird to use this as a sound bar. Yeah, I would, it could work as a sound bar because it is, it's a Bluetooth speaker, and if your thing supports it, it'll work. So it will add some boom. I think it might be a little cumbersome to set that up, but you could definitely do it as a sound bar. And then you have the aux input also. Whoa, okay, so it's definitely louder in outdoor mode. I think it's throwing more, and you can see that. Let's see if we can get waiting for the next part of the song to start up here. Watch that JBL thing move. Let's go back to the beginning here. Maybe this one's probably a little better. Anyway, it's not doing what it was doing before. Now, if we switch it back to home mode here. Yeah, so it actually changes the throw of the sound when you switch it into that outdoor mode. So if you want to get more projection, that's what I would use. So there you go. And yeah, so there are a couple of questions again about the aux port. Yep, so on the back here, we've got an auxiliary input. So if you wanted to hook up some kind of other media player to it, maybe you want to do your cassette deck and go old school, like strap a Walkman onto it and then get the whole 80s vibe going. You could just do that without the Bluetooth. And I'm sure that they looked at this and said, we got to make this thing like a shoulder thing. I'm sure that was part of the discussion. And then again, we've got, and by the way, it's a 3.5 millimeter input, so it's your standard little headphone jack connector. And those are super easy to find. So if you really want to have fun at the holidays, get a microphone for your kids, and then just have them sing into this thing all day long. You'll hear them everywhere. This actually, could work for outdoor events too, right? Put it on outdoor mode, blast it up, and have a microphone amplifier. The other two ports here, these are USB ports for charging devices. So there you go. And then you've got your power input there. BAT2FDs, a Word 279 compared to other Bluetooth speakers. I haven't tested many of these larger ones. But for me, I like, when I go and get something that's nice, I like to get a name brand that has some support behind it. I'm not familiar with what you're referring to, but this looks pretty high quality. And I have not tested similar ones to this, so I can't really say for certain if this is better or worse than another one. But in my limited testing here, it is sounding pretty good. So good stuff. So any other questions on this before we move on to our next item? Because we've got a bunch of stuff to look at. In fact, we've got 4 things we're going to look at today because I have something else that's on sale that I've been using for many years now. So we'll be able to look at that and kind of test it out. So that is the BoomBox from JBL. Really cool stuff. So Dakisha's asking about putting it underwater. I would not, it is IPX7 waterproof, but I am reluctant to put things underwater just because they say they're that way. So it is waterproof though. That's IPX7, so it could probably be okay submerged. But again, you want to make sure that you've got that gasket on there. I had another question about the USB ports on this. Is it only charging or can you plug devices into it? So let's take a look here. I'm just looking through the guide on this. I am pretty sure that those are probably only for charging. But maybe somebody else can let me know in the comments or the chat room about that. Because on the manual, it's indicating that it's only for charging. So, and it's got, again, a 20,000 milliamp hour battery in it. So that's what it's got on there. And Quake has a great chat comment there. It can be submerged in 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. And again, that's going to go away if you don't have this gasket sealed up in the back. So if you're going to the beach and you know you're going to get this thing wet, make sure that gasket's on there. And this is super, it's on there. So you can see how thick that is. But that's your weak point right there. So make sure that's nice and sealed up there, and you'll be good to go. Pretty cool stuff. So that is that one. And then we got in, and if you have more questions about this, let me know. We can come back to it. We're just going to power it off. By the way, there are some controls on here too, so you can go, change the volume, move tracks around, that sort of thing. So good stuff. Very nice. We'll probably have a video review of that coming up soon. All right, now the next item is going to require a couple of different activities here. So let me switch over to our product carousel and select what we're looking at here. This is the Trio Max by Mobile Pixels. And this is a display for your laptop, a secondary display. This one's, I think, a 14-inch. Give me a second here. And what this does, by the way, I'm just drinking water in case you're wondering. I'm not doing anything else this early in the morning. This is the Trio Max by Mobile Pixels. And for those of you working remotely right now, you probably miss having the dual display in your office, and you're hunched over a laptop or something, right? So you get something like this, and there are other portable displays, but this one will actually attach to the back of your laptop. So let's unbox this real quick and see what we got in here. I have a gift for you. Hey, how about that? You get a $10 gift card. Here is your user guide, and we'll probably be referring to this in a minute. Now, this connects, so it does USB Type-C. I wonder if it's got, yeah, we'll take a look at it in a second when we get the rest of it out. And here, you know, I like when manufacturers do this, they make it very clear. You must read this first. So, oh, it's magnetic, I see. So it looks like there is a magnet attachment. So attach metal plate over each magnet, parallel the monitor to the sides of your laptop, push it down, and the first screw must extend beyond. Okay, we'll try this in a minute. I have a laptop we're going to attach this to. And then it's got some guides here. Now, there is a driver required for this, and I'm assuming that this is a display link technology, which runs over USB, which means that if it works the way I think it does, and again, we'll dive into this as we go. If it works the way I think it does, it should work even with older laptops too. So this is the unit itself, and so there's the display, and I've got to peel off this. I love peeling this stuff off. Oops, that was just I thought it was like the film thing, but it wasn't. So this is how it goes. So I guess you could configure this to go in either direction. I'll give you another look at it here. So this is the part that will go on the back of the laptop, and the display kind of pops out from there. So we'll read these instructions before we get everything going. So we got that. We have some little metal things. I'm guessing these are what secures that to the back. So there is some adhesive on these that will go on the back of your device. And then we have this thing. We'll figure all this stuff out as we go. And we've got our connection cables here. So there you go. Okay, so we've got a Windows laptop handy that we'll try this out with real quick. And we'll see how this comes together. Mariana wants to know if this is a touch screen. I don't believe this is a touch screen. And I'm just looking through here to see what comes together. So you do have to get these pieces adhered to the back of your screen first for this to work. And then it goes from there. But I don't believe this is a touch screen. There are, though, screens out there that will support that. But this one, I think, is just a secondary display. So what we would do, I'm just going to size it up here on the back of this laptop real quick. And so what it will do, of course, is add a little bit of extra, extra to the back of your laptop. And then you would pull this out. And in the interest of time, rather than try to get everything lined up, we'll just hook the display up on the side. But this is how it'll look on my laptop when it's put together. And so when this is attached, and it attaches magnetically to the metal pieces that you adhere to the back, you're going to have this second display that hangs off the side. And apparently you can get another one and have a display on the other side as well. So, and then when you're done here, it folds up like that. So there you go. Now what I'm going to try here, let's hook it up to this laptop, because what's nice about this Windows laptop is that it has one of the newer Thunderbolt 3 ports, which is also the same as USB Type-C. So I'm curious if this will work without a driver if you've got one of those USB-C connectors on there. I don't know. So let's grab those cables. There they are. And the cable that it comes with. Now this is going to be powered by your laptop, and it powers over USB. So the display, depending on your laptop, this might be a little dimmer than what you might have on your laptop display. But it doesn't require you to bring around any extra power with you either. And let me take a look at the user guide here real quick, because we are kind of going through it here. And Mark was asking a question that I was able to answer for him right away, so it's always good when you're able to help with that. And it looks like, oh, that's pretty cool. So you also have a presentation mode, so you can swivel it around and show. So if someone's across the desk from you, you can swivel it around and show them the other side of the display. So the display can actually show up on the back of your laptop, and you could mirror the display that way. That's pretty cool. And you can then do the triple screen mode if you had another one, and they've got instructions for that. And I guess that's what that little extra piece of plastic is for, so you can have the two displays hanging off of it. Now your laptop has to support that, of course, so just be aware of that. And there we go. So this is the Trio Max. This is a 14-inch display. The brightness on this is about 220 nits, so it's not going to be as bright as what you would get on your laptop screen most likely, although a lot of the lower cost laptops are around 250 nits or so. So I think that is, it's going to be commensurate with most displays. Now they have a smaller one called the Trio, and that one is smaller and therefore it can be brighter. But they both use less than 4.5 watts. So it'll drain a little bit off your battery, but it's going to be about the same as what you would have with a standard USB device attached to it. These are compatible with Android, Mac, and Windows. Okay, so this does answer my question. So it's going to work in a couple of different ways. This is actually kind of nice. So the video signal support is USB-C DisplayPort. So in the case of this laptop, there won't be a driver required for it. So when I hook this up, let me get into my laptop here real quick. So when I hook this up, and I'll just position it like we would have it, because if I go through the whole process of trying to get everything connected, it's going to take forever. Once you have those magnets on the back, you're good to go. So what I'm going to do here, there is a port. There's two ports on the back. One is for the USB-C connector, I'm assuming, and the other one is for if you're going the other display option. Now, if you have a USB-C equipped laptop, most of them will pass the video through natively, so you won't need to go through the exercise of, I'll just plug this in here. So what we should see happen here, see that? It's coming right up. There you go, done. So you've got that second display. And right now they're mirrored, but I could go into my display settings here. And if I just turn off the duplicate these displays and say extend, so now I can grab this window and drag it right across. Now the reason why this was so fast is because it's just passing through the video data without having to do anything else. Now if I had an older laptop that doesn't have USB-C, what you'll have to do is get you'll have to get the driver installed, which I think on Windows will happen automatically. And you plug it into your USB port, and it's going to do something called, it's called Display Link. And this is a technology that has been around for quite a while. And your computer will process the video and then pass it over the USB. And it's very efficient. I found, we've even played games, old games, over Display Link on like super weak, low-powered computers, like those little fanless computers. And Display Link was able to play like Half-Life and stuff. It'll actually render that stuff through the processor, and it does a pretty nice job of it. So there you go. Now, I don't have it set up the best way at the moment, but that's how it would work. So you'd have it attached like that. And again, as you saw, you can have it reverse on the back. Someone was asking, is this a touch screen? It is not. But you can do, obviously, touch screen on your host laptop if that's what you have. And then, when you're done, you can just slide it back in. And if you have it attached, isn't that neat? My arm's in the way, but you get the idea. Pretty cool. So that is good. And I've got some questions on YouTube here that I will put up as we're discussing things, because these are all relevant to the product here. So Middleman is wondering, are magnets safe to get near electronics? I would keep the magnets away from a spinning hard drive or a cathode ray, an old CRT display. But for these things, it should be fine. Like this laptop has just solid state hard drives on it, so those won't be affected by it. And the magnets would be far enough away from them anyhow. So it shouldn't impact those things. But if you're hooking it up to some old school 90s PC or something, you might want to be a little bit more careful than that. So there you go. 25 Hertz to Life is wondering how many watts. I think you may have missed it earlier. 4.5 watts is the power draw. And again, it's going over the USB port. Interactive DNA has a good point. Yes, so there's two ways that this will work. And my advice to you is that if you have a USB-C port, and I'll show you the port on here again. Let me disconnect it real quick. Now, if you have a USB-C port on your computer, my advice would be to connect it to this port, because this is going to provide the video signal as a DisplayPort output using the USB-C protocol. So one of the cool things about USB-C, in case you're not aware of it, is that certainly the connector looks different, but most laptops have, and I'll clear the graphic here so you can see a little better. Most laptops on their USB-C or Thunderbolt ports, in addition to having it work as a USB port for devices and stuff, it can also send video out natively. So it's like hooking up a monitor to an HDMI port, but it goes over the USB-C connector. So this supports that. And if you don't have that, then what you would use is the other USB port here. And this will work over a technology called DisplayLink, which, as DNA here correctly points out, it will eat up some system resources. But I'll be honest with you, like, I have seen it for the basics really not eat into the computer resources all that much. It actually is pretty efficient, and that's called DisplayLink. On the Mac, you're going to need a driver for that. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm not sure I'm getting all the YouTube chats showing up on my vMix social thing here. So if Mark Dell, I'm keeping an eye on stuff, and he's going to get stuff to me as well. So there you go. All right, so that is this, and let's see if there's any. Oh, so Mark makes a good point on the Amazon chat too. Some laptops have sensors on them to detect when the display is shut. So that could impact things, but you are putting them on the back of the display, which may not matter as much, but if you have a 2-in-1 or something, there could be some interaction there. So just be on the lookout for that. But overall, I think it's if you didn't want to have to carry 2 things around with you, this is what it would be like. You just pull it out, and when you're done, it goes back in. Now, the monitor that this is on the back of right now, this is a 15-inch notebook, and so it fits perfectly back there. So you'll want to check the dimensions of your display just to make sure it's going to work well with what you have. But that's that. Rahul is asking, what is the weight on this one? And I'd have to look that up. Let's see if it tells me on here. I have the dimensions, but I don't have the weight. So perhaps somebody watching can take a look and see. I could go out and weigh it. I would say it's probably adding maybe a pound or so. It's not that heavy, but you're going to add maybe a pound or so to your bag when you're carrying this around. But I know some people, so a friend of mine is a finance guy, and he's got one of these. And when Amazon sent it over, it's like, oh, my friend has one of these things. And he loves it because he was a 2-monitor guy in his office, and now he's working out of his house. Even before that, he was meeting people at coffee shops and stuff. So to be able to have that second display come out when you need it, and then you can keep it behind it when you're not using it, could be pretty useful there. So. So that will work. And then on the Mac side, so the newer Macs with the USB-C should work the way this one just worked. But if you have an older Mac and you're connecting it with the larger USB-A connector, you're going to want to get that driver installed first, as the instructions mentioned there. So be on the lookout for that. So there you go. All right. Any other questions on this one, everybody? If not, we will move on. We'll have time because we're about halfway through the hour. So we're making good time here, everybody. And we've got a couple more things to look at. Let me just clear my desk off here and get to the next item. We'll just shut down our laptop. This thing I bought is a gaming laptop, and it's become like my everything Windows production computer. This thing could actually run my entire channel, and did for a few weeks. They're extremely powerful laptops. All right, so let's move on to the next item. And I'll zoom the camera in a little bit here. And I'm sorry if I missed anybody in the YouTube chat. If you're watching on YouTube, you can head over to the link that's in the description, and you can get in on these deals. Are like ending soon, so these are all on sale today for a holiday dash deal. So if you want in on this stuff or want to get a gift for somebody, today is the day. So here we go. So this is the Garmin Fenix 5X. And Garmin's been making these GPS watches for a long time. These were like the first smartwatches. I bought my wife one of these years ago. Not this one, but one like it. And we'll see how much time we have, but they have a pretty robust software package connected with this. And why you might want to look at one of these versus another type of smartwatch is that, as you know, Garmin makes a lot of GPS devices, and they've got, you know, topographic data on their system, which you can then use in planning out your runs and everything else like that. So there's some reasons to look at something like this because of that. It has a lot of that functionality built in, so you will get like live maps on the watch face as you're running around and stuff. So it's pretty cool stuff. And we're going to have to do a little app connection here as we get going. But let's take it out of the box first and see what it looks like. And this one, I believe, has a sapphire face, so it looks really sharp. And this will do your heart rate and all that good stuff. And again, this is a fitness watch. So if you are a runner or somebody that's doing a lot of things like that, this one's probably going to be something to consider because it's focused specifically on that. So let's see if we can power it on real quick. I'm assuming this red button turns it on. And if not, we will find the button that turns it on. We have to plug it into our computer first. Let's see. Let's take a look at the rest of the stuff in the box here. And we get that selected up on our carousel here. There we go. And I appreciate Mark Dell's help in the YouTube chat. I'm trying to monitor 2 chats here, so that is appreciated. And we have our startup guide here. And it looks like we got our charging cable here. Yeah, this reminds me a lot of my wife's watch. So this has like its own special charging cable. And we might have to give it a little bit of juice to start it off with here. So this plugs in, it looks like on the bottom here. So it plugs in there, and then you plug it into a USB power adapter. And we can do that in a second and get things going. Let me see if I can get it to turn on and see what the steps are for getting this working. And it looks like there's an app that we're going to attach it to, so I may grab that on my iPhone here real quick and see if we can get going with that. And it's called the Garmin, look up for the Garmin app here real quick and get going. I like to do kind of like setups on my live streams because I like to see, what I tend to look for when I do my YouTube videos is I want people to see what the product experience is going to be like when you first get it. What's it like to set it up? You know, what kind of steps do you have to go through? That's the kind of thing that I like to do with my live streams. So this is it. It looks nice. And again, if you're looking for something fashionable, I mean, it doesn't look bad to wear it. I think it's a statement. And actually, I think if you wear one of these watches, it's kind of telling the world, hey, I'm serious about my fitness because I got this monster. Oh, it looks like it's starting up now. Let's take a look. There's something on the screen. There it goes. And it looks like it's got like a OLED display. This is one of these displays also that's reflective. So when you're out in daylight, it'll look pretty good. And I'm going to select English here. And we're going to pair it with my phone. Yeah, why not? So let's pair it up with my iPhone. I'm going to download the Garmin Connect app, which I did. And we're going to hit OK to allow it to go to Bluetooth. Let me just turn my Do Not Disturb on real quick here. OK, so I'm going to have to create an account real quick. So let's do that. And then we will jump in here and try it out. I still got some time here, folks, so I'll put this up on the thing here. So it's looking for my phone right now. So let me just do this real quick and get the account going. This will largely mirror what you'll go through when you get it. The nice thing is that it looks like you can do everything on the smartphone. So when my wife had her original one years ago, it was an app on the computer. So we'll see if we can do some basic stuff. Generally with these watches, what I have found is that you can get your text messages and stuff even if you don't have an iWatch, right? So there's sometimes you can do some stuff with that. So give me 1 second here. I just need to get my password going. And then we will continue onward here. And there we go. Let's see. One password, one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, and one number. 8 characters. All right, so let's do another. There we go. That should suffice. Next. Doesn't like my password. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so now we're going to go into the Garmin Connect app here. And I'll get to your questions on Amazon in a second, folks. Okay, so we're ready to connect. So we're going to say connect it. And the Fenix is giving us a number here, so I'm going to type that in here. And we're going to pair it up. And this will probably just take a second. And yeah, so it looks like it's going to pass iOS notifications back to the phone, back to the watch. So we should be able to see some of our notifications from the phones, like Bluetooth messages and that sort of thing, or text messages and that sort of thing. And hey, I didn't even consciously. David Devine said I mentioned that we still have some time, and we're looking at a watch. I wish I was smart enough to actually come up with stuff that quickly in my head. Okay. There we go. Hey, it's an astronaut as a profile picture. I love astronauts, so I'm going to go with that. I want to share my profile with, oh, cool. So the other thing that it's doing here, so the Apple Health app consolidates all of your health data from all the different devices that you have. So, in my house, I've got like smart scales and I've got some, even one of my thermometers does Apple Health stuff. So you can grab the health data from the watch. Let's say you don't want to wear the watch all the time, but you want to wear the watch when you're working out or doing runs or whatever. It'll collect its data, and in addition to working with its app, it's going to pass it over to Apple Health so you can consolidate all of your health information from all the other stuff that you're using. So that's pretty cool. And then I could share my activities with my wife if I wanted to, or my trainer. So this might keep you honest, but for me, I'm going to just keep it honest with me. And the next few questions will figure out how fast. So my gender is male. Yeah, that's about my height. I think it's pulling that in from Apple Health, actually. I'm at 195 pounds. No way, I'm 160 right now. A little bit more than I want to be. And we'll hit OK there. And I got to put my birthday in. I just had a birthday, by the way. So now I'm officially 44. I have no idea, I forget how old I am now because there's no milestone. I'm going to just go with the bedtimes that it's saying that I've got here. Send your recent training data to your new device. Sure. I don't think I have any recent training data, but we can also set some goals here. So I can set steps per day and all this stuff. And I'm assuming that it's going to sync up with the other devices that I'm using as well. And we'll give it the location stuff as well while it's using the app. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll give it calendar access. So what this will do, like it'll do some basic smartwatch functions. So if I have a meeting coming up or something, it'll do that. And we'll sync it up right now. And we're all set. Sure, it does weather data. Let's do that. And we'll use the phone location. That's good. Perfect. And we have to give it location permissions, and we'll do that. So I've got to run into my location permissions on this Garmin app here. So let's just jump into the Garmin app in the settings. Give me a second here, folks. And I'll get to your questions on the Amazon side in a minute, everybody, as we figure this out. I'll come back to that. We'll do that later. All right, so here we go. So we've got their app, and again, this will work with Apple Health as well. So you can use this app for some stuff and then other things for other things. All right, so let's go in and see what we've got here for activities. So we have activities, apps, and more. And right now I've got, looks like there's a navigation app, a Track Me, a map, and HRV stress. I am like totally unstressed right now. So I'm a walker. Because that's something, right? So I'm going to add walking to my watch. And there we go. So we've got walk on there. And let's go to the watch now. Let me get the camera zoomed in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. And while that's going, let's go back to the Amazon chat and make sure I'm not missing any questions here. And let's go zoom in a little bit. And what I like about it, and I think there is a backlight that you can turn on. Yes, there is a backlight, but it's got one of these reflective displays. And this is something that I had on an older handheld device a while back. And what's nice is that because you're going to be likely using this thing outside, you can preserve the battery life. And I don't know what the battery life is rated at. They say that it'll run about 12 days between charges. And part of that is because you've got, you've got that reflective display, so you don't always have to have the backlight on to see it. So let's go through here. Let's see. I guess it's on a touch screen, so we have to navigate with this thing here. So we're going to go down here to walk. And it is waterproof, of course, so you can use it in the pool. So I'll hit walk here. I'm guessing that's the enter. There we go. And we'll go down to the bottom here and click done. All right. And it's got like a traditional face, and I'm guessing we could probably change that as well. Soulfire wants to know, can you take phone calls on the watch? That is a good question. So let's take a look and see if it can take calls. Generally, these things kind of work as little USB devices. So I'm pretty sure that can do that. We'll have to look through this. It looks like it does because there is, let's go back to the app menu here and see if we can pull that up. So this is the walking function. We'll get to that in a minute. I do need to charge the watch up here, so it is going to need a charge before you get started. So hopefully we've got enough juice to get us through the thing here. So let's take a look there. So we got some heart data. Pretty cool. You got your step meter. Have an altimeter. So it says I'm 58 feet above sea level, it looks like. It's got a barometer built in also, which is probably going to be important for those of you who are running at higher altitudes and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Let's go back here. And oh, it pulled in one of my calendar entries there. So there you go. Let's see if we can find, you have a calibration on the altimeter. Let's go back out here. Let's hit this again. I think there's a way to get to the list of apps. Yeah, here we go. So let's scroll through here and let's add something. So I saw a phone icon on there, so I'm pretty sure you could probably do your calls on it. These are all different types of exercises. So I will double check on that. Ryan's saying, you're mentioning Apple products, would it work? Yeah, I'm assuming this will also work with the Android health function as well. That's been something I've seen across many products like this. So if I had my Android phone down here, I'm willing to bet you that it probably connects up with that as well. Let me take a look on their product page and get a better sense as to some of the other features. It does feel very rugged, and this one has the sapphire face, so that's going to reduce the scratching on it as well. And again, what's nice about this is that this is a reflective display. So this is being lit essentially by the light coming down on it, and I think that makes a difference here. So let's take a look at some of the things that it does so I can properly answer questions. It's got a couple of different case sizes too. I think this is probably the larger one. Yeah, this is the 51 millimeter, and there's a 42 millimeter at the smallest size, and there's a 47 in the middle, it looks like. Let's see what else we can do with it here. So it does smartphone notifications. It'll upload to Garmin Connect through your phone, so that's pretty neat. Let's see if it supports phone calls. It does heart rate, which you would expect these days to do. You can monitor all of your performance activities while you're in the middle of your runs. We can't take it on the road with us at the moment just because I am locked into this studio in my basement. But when I'm out and about, I might do a review of this and we'll have a little bit more detail on that. And we'll see how it all works. Let me see if it does support phone calls, because that was the question that we got. Okay, so you can. Here's what you can do with it. It works with iPhones and Androids, obviously. You can control your phone music. You can do text response, and you can reject calls with text on Android only. I don't believe it will allow you to actually make calls, though. So you can reject a call and see who's calling you. but I don't think you can actually talk to the person through the watch. And if I'm wrong, somebody can point that out for me there. And Chris mentions that it'll run 12 days with GPS disabled. Yes, when you have the GPS on, that will eat into the battery a little bit more. But it's pretty cool. I like the watch face on it. So let's see if there's some more controls on the app here itself. And we'll just go over to the app here. Let's get that position better. And let's take a look here, because I know there's some ways that you can plan out a run, because you have all of the data that you would expect Garmin to have. You can download golf cart courses onto this also. That's pretty cool. There's a whole golf thing with it as well. Pretty neat. And so you can jump into your activities here. Let's go back to walking here and see what we can do. Yeah, so you can do your basic fitness activities here. There's a live track. Oh, tip, hold to change watch. Okay, cool. So let's try to change the watch faces here. So we can do this, and we can change the watch face. So we have this one. You have a more digital kind of thing. I kind of like the hands. And you can add some new ones too. So I'm sure you can download more off the app. Yeah, there's a lot of depth to this. We'll have to spend some time with it. But I kind of like the one we were just looking at with the complications. Let me go back up a notch here to what we had. And the reason why I like this is that I've got the barometer, I've got the altimeter, I've got my current health status, and I have the time and the date. So I think that's pretty useful stuff there. Cool stuff. So we've got about 10 minutes, and I've got one more thing to show you as we work our way through this. But if there are other questions, I'm happy to answer them. And let me get caught back up on my chat here. Audrey wants to know, text, can you see the messages? Yes. So you will get your text messages on the display, and you will then, I believe, have to go back to your phone to respond to them, but you will get your notifications from your phone. And on the Android side, you could reject the call and send a text that says, hey, I'm running right now. So you've got that. Ryan wants to know, is the screen touch enabled? It is not. So you have to use the buttons on the side here. Kind of old school there. But yeah, you cannot, you can touch the screen and nothing's going to happen. But it is a sapphire face, and it feels nice and rugged. That's not going to scratch too easily, so that's good. So there you go. Cool beans. All right, so that is the Garmin Fenix 5X, and that is a rugged fitness watch. And you can see here these lights, by the way. So what it's looking for is that was it was running the heart rate monitor. So it'll monitor your heart rate. That is what you got there. Mark did take a look at the phone calls, and it looks like, yeah, so I think what you can do is it'll tell you somebody's calling and who's calling, and you can decide whether or not you want to pick up the phone. That's what that'll do. So it won't be as, it's a smartwatch, but it doesn't do some of those things. But I would imagine, like, if you're out running, you probably don't want to answer the call anyhow. And that's what it's designed for. And again, because it's going to integrate with all of your health apps, I think that that's going to provide some additional stuff. All right, one last thing to look at here before my hour is up, and that is the August Smart Lock. Now, I've got an older one, but it works pretty much the same way. Now, these connect to your existing door lock. You basically replace the inside portion with this. And I'm going to walk over to the door that this is on, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like. So if you've got people that, you don't want to get rid of your locks because you got the key for everything and you don't want to mess around with that, you can keep the outside of your lock the same. Now check it out. I could use the automatic thing, or I can just do that. And then, let me see if I'm get the shot here still. So let me open the door here, and I'll turn my camera over. And you can see my old lock is still on the other side. So your key still works, but you can make it smarter. Isn't that neat? And I did a review of this, so if you want to get more detail and you check out the product pages, you'll get my whole review, because I went through every aspect of it. And I'll show you the automated part of it in a second. Now, it runs on batteries, and they go in just like that. They last a good long time. It depends on how often you're using the lock, really. And then what I like about the August stuff is that it works with everything. So it works with HomeKit. It works with all the Google stuff. Like, it just works with everything. And one of the coolest things is that when you're walking up on your house, you can just like say to your phone, like, hey, so-and-so, open the door for me. And if you're logged in, you're in. It's just that simple. So it's pretty cool. So that's the lock. And then there's an app that goes with it. Now, one of the things that I really like about this, let me get my August app up here real quick, is that I don't have people coming to the house right now because I have somebody that works for me here on the channel. And I don't have him coming right now because of the whole COVID thing. But when he was coming here, I gave him a digital key. And so he'd take out his phone and he can unlock my door, but only on certain times of the week. So if he was able to come in, his schedule was like Monday through Friday, the typical working hours. And if he showed up on Saturday, wouldn't let him in because the door can restrict that. So if you have somebody who comes and cleans your house or something once a week or whatever, you can give them a digital key and they can just load up their phone and unlock the door, and you can restrict exactly when they come in. And it also keeps a log of everybody's coming and going as well. So it's really cool how it all works. And it's a pretty simple device to get set up and operating too. It's really not hard to get going with it. Again, you probably change the batteries maybe once every 8 months or so. So you do have to, just keep an eye on that. It'll tell you when the battery's starting to get a little bit low. So you do have that available to you. I was just connected to the door upstairs, so I just unlocked the door upstairs. Let me go over it. My wife's going to be wondering what I'm doing down here. So what's also cool about it is that if for some reason you want to revoke a key, let's say, my guy's great, but let's say one day he gets a new job and he doesn't come here anymore. I don't have a key to get back from him because I gave him a digital key, so I can just revoke the key and it's gone. And you can do all that on the app. So I can go in here. Let me show you the app that I have set up here. So I have guests who can come into my house at certain times. So if we look at Jake here, I can set his guest level. I can have different things happen. So he can't use the auto unlock, for example. Like, there's certain things that he can and can't do. And I have a recurring access schedule for him. So if he's showing up Saturday or Sunday, it's not going to let him in. If he comes to the house in the middle of the night, it's not going to let him in. If he's between these hours, he can come in. That's it. And then I can revoke stuff too. So for example, if James here, I decide to make him no longer a user, I can remove him from the list just like that. So it's pretty cool how that all works. So that is the August lock, and it's neat. And it's just, a little motor in there, and it'll work pretty decently. So it is good stuff. Let's take a look at some other comments here on the chat. So any NFC or anything, you can't just hold your phone up or be near the door and it auto unlocks. So there is an NFC feature which you can enable if you want. I've always been a little weary of automatic unlockings, so my preference would be that just don't do that. But you can do it. You could have it do that. But it's done over Bluetooth, so what'll happen is that when I assign them the key, they have to download the August app, which is available for Android and iPhone. So they download the app, they enable it, and then when they come to the door, they load the app up, and there's an encrypted thing that gets put on their phone, and as long as that key is valid inside the lock, it's good. And so your lock actually polices all of that. So I think it's easier, because before I would have had somebody with a spare key or whatever. And what's nice about this too, let's say you've got like an Airbnb, right? You can assign the key to your visitor, and then it expires when their session is up and they can't come back and use it again. It's so much easier than, and I think more secure than just leaving a key somewhere. So it's pretty cool. So that is that on the thing there. And Mark says it'd be fun if you could unlock the door with a Luigi amiibo or something. Yeah, it's so right. So it's not. And by the way, when I'm talking about NFC, it is doing it over Bluetooth, I believe. So it's going to detect the proximity of an authorized device and then go ahead and do that. But again, I think I would rather somebody have to take the phone out and kind of go through that. And the other cool thing with the app is that it will also keep a log. Let me see if I can find it here. It keeps a log of everything that goes on. So let me pull my camera back up here. So you can see here when I was unlocking and locking my front door, it'll tell you what happened. And it also will keep a log of manual locks and unlocks. So let's say somebody, it's not going to know who unlocked it manually, but if somebody used the key to unlock the door, it's going to log every one of those activities. So you have a constant log of comings and goings, and that could be really useful because let's say something happens, right? And you've got security camera data. You can link up the time that somebody unlocked the door, go check out your security DVR, and have a whole bunch of stuff kind of associated with that. So these are good. And what I like about the August lock, and this is a good deal on it, I think, for the price that they're selling it at the moment, is that it works with everything. So it's pretty easy. Jonathan's asking about battery life and whether you get a battery indicator. Yes, you do get a battery indicator. And in fact, it had been so long since I used this smart lock over there, my battery is actually running low. So it said replace the battery immediately. So that's why it's not turning at the moment, because I forgot to change the battery last night. Yeah, I just learned that this was a deal dash this morning. So I said, oh, I got one of those. I can do that. So Mark is asking what happens when the battery dies. Well, on this one, it doesn't matter, because if the battery dies, you can just use your regular lock. And let me jump back over there too, because I can also demonstrate the inside portion. So it can be operated completely manually, because remember, it is just covering up your existing door lock. So if I want to unlock it, that's it. Lock, right? Manual inside, and then on the outside, you still have your old. I need to get a power washer. So if anyone from Amazon's watching, we need a power washer deal dash item so I can wash this door. That'll be epic. You can watch me, hopefully not strip paint. But that's my old Schlage lock, same one. So I just replaced the interior portion. I took the other part of it and moved it aside. So that's it. Pretty cool. So I think actually, let me go back, there we go. I think I'm actually out of time here. Let's see how much time I've got. Yeah, we are just about at the end of my stream here. Let me see if other people have comments. But yeah, this is a quick hour. It goes fast, and it's hard too, because I like to do this unboxing stuff where we can see and experience things as I take them out of the box, so you can see what your experience will be when you buy them yourself, and that takes time, right? But we got through it. And I'll probably do some reviews of this stuff because I know these things are interesting to people on the channel. These are things I don't typically review. I look at a lot of different consumer electronics, but this was kind of fun because I've learned a lot about the things that I typically wouldn't cover here. So it is really cool. Yeah, good stuff. And really, really neat. So that is the watch. We looked at the BoomBox. This BoomBox, I'm going to go and walk around the neighborhood with this thing. I mean, this is monstrous. Look at that. But if you think about it, if there was a science fiction movie in 1980, whatever, about what boomboxes would look like in the future, this is what it would look like. Maybe where's the music coming from? It's magic. It comes out of the air. So pretty cool. So I'm going to keep going for just a little bit longer to answer any questions from the YouTube audience. So I think on Amazon, it looks like we are ending at 11, at least on the home page, but I think this will continue. And if Andy or Zena in the chat can confirm, I think this will continue after the time slot ends. And if not, I'll cut the Amazon side off and we'll give it another 10 or 15 minutes on YouTube before I have to go and get some Sunday stuff done around the house. Yeah, this was fun. I really appreciate everybody tuning in on Amazon, and hopefully this was helpful as you're looking for gifts because you know what? You got to get that holiday shopping done. Why not do it early? My wife's been doing a lot of holiday shopping early, so that's pretty good stuff. But yeah, I think what I'll probably do in the future is maybe have Jake be on these things and kind of monitoring all the chats so that I can get everyone's questions answered, because it's tough to get everything consolidated. I have vMix Social, which does the YouTube stuff. I don't think it works on the Amazon side yet. We'll have to check that out. So yeah, so from the Amazon audience, thanks for tuning in. And I'll run this slate for a minute here to close out the Amazon side of things. And then we'll come back on the YouTube side in a little bit. I'll leave the Amazon, Andy, if it's okay, I'm going to leave the Amazon going just for a little bit longer until I'm totally done with the stream. Let me know. And good stuff. All right. So everybody, that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. And Andy, thank you for moderating the chat on the Amazon side. Much appreciated. So it's good when you have, I've often said that when you get the spammers, you have made it. So there you go. But yeah, so this was fun. This was we're going to do another one of these on Cyber Monday. I don't know what I'm going to have in just yet, so stay tuned. But we will be having a Cyber Monday version of this as well, and I will try to get the word out to all of you when we do that. So that was fun. I want to thank Thomas Anfang for the Super Chat contribution. That was very nice of you. And I might cover Crew 1 tonight. We'll see. My Sunday nights are usually tough because of family stuff, but I might try to do a stream tonight covering that launch. And if you're not familiar, tonight NASA and SpaceX are sending 4 astronauts to the space station. This is the first operational mission, so that's going to be kind of fun there. Handquake said it was cool to see. Yeah, we had a lot of Amazon viewers today, which was great. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, this was good. So it'll be good to do another one of these. Brenda on the Amazon chat says, thank you. You helped me find a gift for her boyfriend, the person who has everything. Yeah, I am that guy. My wife feels so guilty because she's like, I can't get you anything. I was like, you know, I don't really need anything. To be honest with you, I have more stuff than I know what to do with now. So I'm often just giving stuff away when people come over, and I give stuff away to the school when I have things that the school can use. So it's hard. It's really hard to find gifts for people. But I think, you know, it's funny. I've never been, here, I'll zoom out here for a minute. I've never been a huge Bluetooth speaker guy because, like, there's so many Bluetooth speakers out there. But this thing's cool because, you know, hopefully by the summertime, maybe we'll be back at a point where we can hang out together again. And even if we're still socially distanced, you need a loudspeaker, right? So, so, you know, this could be something that could be great for that. So it's good stuff. So Brenda, I'm glad I could help you out. I often, that's why I do this. I like to help people make decisions on this stuff. So that's why we do it. Mark Dell. I am not practiced. I just kind of push buttons until it works. That's how I do it. But yeah, I had everything set up. So I have 3 fixed camera positions down here. This is the after show, by the way, in case anyone on Amazon is wondering what's going on. So I have 3 fixed camera positions down here. I've got this one, I have this one, and then I have this one, which is the overhead view. And I've got this thing that I put together above me that allows me to mount my lights. So I used to have a light off to the side, and it was like shining up the side of my face. So I have now directed lights that are mounted above me down on the desk. So I can light up things evenly and then do overhead views like this. So that works really well. And so that's the fixed position. So when I come down here to start shooting stuff, I boot up vMix, and if you're curious what my vMix looks like, I'll show you that too. I boot up vMix, and then I am pretty much ready to go. I can just turn the lights on. In fact, I have the lights on a smart plug, so I hit a button on my phone, the lights all come on, I turn on the computer, turn the cameras on, and I'm good. I'm ready to go, because there's no setup, because everything is exact. I don't touch this stuff. Like that camera, I never touch it. I just let it sit there. This one I'll move the zoom back and forth. That's the only camera, this view. That's the only one that I move, is the one on the left-hand side here. And I get going. And my vMix screen looks like this. It looks a little complicated. Let me just pull this comment off here. So we had the video that we ran here, and I can just hit the space bar and that plays. See? Pretty cool. And then I've got the 3 cameras going here. And you got that going. Now, we are streaming right now to 2 different services. But look at my system resources down here. I'm only using about 8% of what my computer is capable of, which is crazy, right? So if you look at my status indicator here, I still have so much room here on, we're barely touching the surface here. I've got, an 8-core CPU. I've got I just have a GTX 1080 doing the video processing, and we're shooting 11 megabits of video upstream right now, and that's it. So by the way, this would have maxed out my old connection, but now we're using maybe not even 1% of it. So it's kind of fun to have all that. Chris Richardson has a good question. I'm going to cover this. I'm going to do a whole week of production videos, by the way. He's wondering, no TriCaster. Yeah, I switched over to vMix, so that's what we ended up doing there. And for those of you on Amazon, by the way, we're doing a little after show here. We just had an hour-long Deal Dash video here, so we are just doing a little after show of all the stuff that we just covered. And related to that, we're talking about how we made the video work. So if you're just sticking around on Amazon from when we were appearing on the Deal Dash page, that is what we're doing. And by the way, we're going to be back on Cyber Monday as well, so be on the lookout for that. But if you still have questions, I see there's about 700 or 800 people still on the Amazon chat. So if you do have questions about this stuff, ask away. I'm going to be here for another 20 minutes or so. So let me know. But yeah, I got rid of I didn't get rid of the TriCaster yet. I still have it. But I had some issues with the TriCaster and the video codecs and stuff that it was using. And that prompted me to start playing around with vMix. And I found that vMix actually, for what I need, is fine. In fact, it's easier to some degree, especially when it comes to setting up production templates. So for example, today we're doing this live stream for Amazon. And so now I've got all these graphics and stuff loaded in, and I can save this as a profile. So when I do the Cyber Monday one I'm doing on Cyber Monday, the day after, I guess Monday after Thanksgiving, I can just load this up and I won't have as much setup time for the next thing. So I have the 3, just to come back to the initial discussion, I have the 3 fixed cameras. So I have this one, and this one. And then vMix has very robust support for NDI. So this shot got bad because it's getting blown out. But this feed from the lock over there, rather than running a super long HDMI cable across the room, I'm able to transmit this over my local network with a technology called NDI, which is something that the TriCaster people actually made. And what it does is it's a little box. I plug the camera into the NDI box, and now when I am attached to that, it is bringing the video in like it was directly connected. Very low latency. I've done reviews of all this NDI technology. What's really cool about the NDI is that when you can bring in a computer screen in the same way. So you can set up something called the NDI scan converter, which will take any Windows or Mac desktop screen or window and just push it over as low latency video to your thing. And it comes over at, pulls it over with no compression, or not any kind of lossless compression. So, you're going to use up some network bandwidth on it, but it works really well. So we have that. And then, what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else. Additionally, NDI is a 2-way protocol. So the other day I was a little consulting job for somebody. We had a call-in show that was broadcast only as a Zoom webinar. So I can take the output of vMix and put that out on the network as NDI. So right now, I'm not using it right now, but I have my program out is always available as NDI to any device on my network. So what I did is I set up that gaming laptop we were looking at earlier, and I had the NDI feed from vMix come in as a webcam using the NDI virtual camera, and I could broadcast over Zoom webinar with the output of my vMix system here. So it's really slick how all this works. So there you go. And yeah, we're going to have a whole week of this. And actually what we're going to do is we got in a laptop from Lenovo that they're going to donate to my local high school. So once we get through all the learning, in-person learning again, hopefully soon, we're going to donate that to the school. So we're going to set up vMix on there. And in the course of that, I'll show you how we'll build it from the ground up. We'll basically replicate my production workflow here. So you can see how that works. Hunter's Technical Fun wants to know, what's my favorite product from the show? Well, of course, I love them all equally. But I got to say, I think this BoomBox is going to get some use. So my wife is always going to the beach. We have a beach not far from us here in Connecticut. So I think the BoomBox is going to be something we'll be using quite a bit. So yes, so we will do some vMix stuff. Don't worry, I'm going to do a whole week of it, and I've got more cameras that came in also that will interface over NDI to vMix too. So we'll have some fun stuff. And we did if you look back on my channel, I did a remote high school graduation for the local school here. It's a volunteer thing. We did it all over NDI on a laptop with 3 cameras. We went for 7.5, 8 hours straight. Worked great. It was wonderful. Mark Dell is asking about the new M1 processors from Apple. Yeah, so I got the notification. My MacBook Air, I think, is going to come in next week. So as soon as it gets here, we're going to have a live stream about the new MacBook Air. And I specifically bought the Air because I'm going to use the Air as my computer on the desk here. And I'm very curious to see how well it will edit my video versus the machines I have now. So I have my current daily driver MacBook Pro is 4 years old. I got it in 2016, right when they revved over to the new design. So I'm going to compare it to that one, and then I have a 5-year-old iMac that I use on my desk over there. And I'm really curious to see how it does with the stuff that I usually do. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking at there. Harrison said it was a first-time live stream viewer, long-time viewer of the channel, and he enjoyed the live stream. This is great. Yeah, this is like such a great opportunity. So this was running on the Amazon homepage at the same time we were going out to YouTube. And this was great for me because I started the YouTube side of the stream this is the after show, by the way, in case you're wondering. So there's still about 600 people on the Amazon side. I started this stream about a half an hour earlier than the Amazon stream on YouTube, just so I could make sure everything worked. So you all came in and were really helpful to me in testing out, because I had to do a couple of things at the beginning. So you were all really helpful to me in getting that set up. So once we got that going at 10 a.m., so my slot was 10 to 11, so we got live there, and we got through 4 things that, 3 of them we hadn't looked at before. So I think it was a pretty efficient stream there. So it worked out great. So this was fun for me. And we're going to do another one of these on Cyber Monday. So be on the lookout for that. And by the way, the benefit to those watching these streams is that you're getting a deal at the time that we're doing the stream. So typically what I do, and I pop on randomly, but I'm on Amazon streaming probably now, I do about 2 or 3 times a week, if not more. And what I do is I basically, if I'm working on something down here, I'll stream it. Why not? And sometimes I might stream a little bit more on Amazon because it's a little quicker to get set up on the Amazon stream versus the YouTube stream. But most of the time I'm going in both places. But the best thing to do, if you like this kind of thing, is to go over to my Amazon link and follow me. And if you're already watching on Amazon, there's a follow button there. And you can follow me because I pop on and I'm just playing with stuff. And we're trying to, so my typical workflow is that a product comes in. If it's something really neat and interesting, I do an unboxing video first, and we put that on my secondary channel. And so I'll record the unboxing, and then we'll take it out of the box and start getting it set up and try to figure out how everything works. And it's kind of just, you can watch me do the evaluative side of what I do. And then, of course, we shoot the regular video. Sometimes I just live stream when I shoot the video. So I was doing the Roku stream bar the other day, and I live streamed my recording of the video. So we did that. So that was fun. Mark Dell bought the, so here's what I'm going to be looking at. He bought the Mac Mini. And so my process here in looking at the Air is that I needed to replace my computer that's on the desk here anyhow. So I wanted to get that done with the Air. And if I'm satisfied with the performance of the Air, then I'll probably get the Mini and replace my iMac with it. Because what I'm noticing is that my iMac is slower at processing video than my MacBook Pro is, and they're only about a year apart. So if it's faster than that on the Air, then of course having an active cooling system on the Mini might make a lot of sense. And I tend to keep my Macs for about 5 or 6 years before I buy a new one, because I try to get as much value out of them as I can. So there we go. Oh, there was a question about the Pi 400 from Kobo Bunny. Sorry, I missed that earlier. I got distracted on my production workflow. I think I have it over there. I would get it out if I knew where it was at the moment. Actually, maybe I do have it over there. I think the Pi 400 is great. Let me see if I can find it again. So the problem with not having Jake here is that when I'm done with something, it just gets put on this table in the middle of my room, and now I've got more stuff in the middle of my table than I know what to do with. So what did I do? Here it is. And you can all check out my review of this, and hopefully this will be on Amazon soon. This thing is great. I mean, it's not going to replace a regular computer for people that are doing video editing and that sort of thing, but for a lot of people, especially kids and schools, I mean, $100, and you got a computer. Hook a monitor up to it and turn it on, and you're good to go. This is a revolutionary product, I think. And what's amazing is that it's the same as this, but it's a plug-and-play solution. So I do think it's worth it if you're in need of something like this. And there's a kit version, and then there's just like the keyboard version. And I would get the kit, especially if you have kids or you're a school, because the kit comes with the power supply and a guide. And the guide will take you from the beginning of when you first plug it in all the way to the actual use of it. It's pretty good. So it's amazing. And it's not any different than a Raspberry Pi, but it is something that's a lot easier for people to get started with. And I think that's what's so amazing about it. So there you go. Hunter's Technical Fun wants to know, what is my favorite operating system for phones, Android or Apple? You know, it's a couple of years ago, I would have said to you that iOS is the superior operating system. I think now, depending on which Android phone you get, I think there's a lot of parity now between the two. And I've been getting in those Google Pixel phones for the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm very impressed with it, to the point where I think there's a lot of parity in performance and just overall use between the two. I think the one advantage that Apple has, and this advantage is going to continue now as the M1 chip comes onto the Mac, is that Apple is manufacturing, or designing, I should say, they don't make anything anymore. They own the whole stack, from the processor all the way up. So they are designing their chips around what the operating system does. And that has benefits for battery life. It has benefits for first-party software that Apple makes, but also third-party software that other developers make, because Apple writes all the APIs that these developers are connecting to. So there's some real, and you're going to see this on the Mac. Those Macs are going to be, and I'm speculating, but from what I'm seeing so far, those Macs are going to, I think, revolutionize the PC market, because you're going to see performance out of them that is going to be on par with computers that have a significantly higher power draw. And the same can be said of the phones. So, you know, that's the one advantage Apple has, although I think Android has really caught up in the sense that it doesn't feel, to me, like it's inferior, like it had been maybe a few years ago. It's really, I think, a real parity now with iOS. For me, I just happen to prefer the Apple ecosystem. I use that for my video editing and stuff, so that's what I use. You know, everything connects up really nicely with my Mac. We're going to talk this week on the wrap-up about photos and photo management. And I found Apple Photos with the iCloud service to be a good way to do it. I just like it, and you know, but that's my preference. Other people may have a different thought on that. Back to the Pi here. Cabo says there's been some retro computing recreations for the Commodore 64. Yep, that's right. You can get a thing that will, it's a little Commodore 64 that you can plug into your TV just like the old days. I think this, though, would be the better option because you can emulate the Commodore 64 but also run modern, Linux stuff on it. So that might be the way to go for sure. But it's good stuff. I'm loving it. Although my favorite, and we're going to do this, so the next stream, it's probably going to be tomorrow, I got in the new 8BitDo arcade controller, and we're going to hook that up to my Mister a little later, so that's going to be kind of fun to play with. By the way, if you're watching on Amazon, this is the after show for what we just covered. So and I'm going to be wrapping up here in a minute because I've got to chill with the family today, Sunday. I try to take at least one day off a week if I can, or at least half a day. So this is the JBL BoomBox that we looked at a little bit earlier. This thing's loud and it's bassy. And what's cool about it is that, and you can go rewind on the stream here if you're watching on YouTube. What's cool about it is that it is a charger for your phones in addition to being a big speaker. It's got like a huge battery in it, so you can keep your phone juiced up. Just plug it into the back. And it's like it's like a IPX7, 7X or whatever, so it's got a big, huge gasket here in the back. So you want to keep that sealed up nice and tight there, so it's good stuff. But this was pretty cool. And then we have the fitness watch from Garmin. This is their Fenix 5X. It has a sapphire display on it, so we looked at that. And then we also, I put it down over here. Where did I put it? We also took a look, just because I ran out of room on my desk here. We also looked at a display that you can attach to here it is, to the back of your laptop. Now, we didn't go through the whole attachment process, but you put this on the back of your laptop display, and then you can pull this out. Isn't that cool? So that might be useful to some folks. So there you go. So that was our holiday dash deal overview. And I'm going to probably close out in about 2 or 3 minutes here. So let me take a few last questions. And let's see what I'm missing here. Mark Dell wants the new Spectrum that has an FPGA in it. Yeah, FPGA stuff is going to become bigger and bigger. And here's what's interesting is that, and it's going to take a while for this to happen. I think a long while, but I think we're going to get to a point, I'm going to predict this now, in 20 years, when you buy a computer, the chip on it is going to be reprogrammable, and it will become whatever this piece of software requires it to be. And that's what an FPGA is. You have logic circuits, and those logic circuits can be routed any which way. So the Mister is kind of like, for those of you who haven't followed my stuff on the Mister, it is a little FPGA-based computer, and the little chip inside of it is programmed to behave like whatever the developer wants it to be. So it can be a Commodore 64, it can be an Apple II, it can be a Mac, it can be an Amiga, and it will basically, the developers, sometimes they actually go in and look physically at the chips they're trying to simulate, and they replicate the logic of those chips by looking at the chips themselves. It's remarkable. You can design, actually computer chips are designed using FPGAs. That's why the development's so fast on these things. So that's how it's going to go. Kobo wants me to take out my Timex Sinclair, by the way. So this was my very first computer, this one right here. This is the actual first computer I ever had. This was the Timex Sinclair 1000. We covered this on the review we did of the Pi. But this is where it, those Twitter things, like where it started, how it's going, how's it going, like this. This is really the modern embodiment of what this is. This was a little computer, was cheap, hooked it up to your television. You could learn how to program. That's how I started programming on this. And now you got the same thing with this, except this one. So this had, oh gosh, how many? I think this had like 1K of memory. I forgot what it was, because there was I have it in the other room. There's a 16K expansion module you'd pop on the back to get it to like 17K of memory or whatever. Like K, not megabytes, not gigabytes, K. This, 4 gigabytes. And they essentially cost the same, although because of inflation, this was significantly more expensive than what this is. So this probably would have been, back in its day, I mean, I can't even imagine how, I mean, think about what 99 bucks would be back in 1985. This is tremendously more powerful, and it's the same concept. It's pretty cool. So 2K, sorry, Kobo said it was 2K, not 1K. So yeah, so you had 2K, and then you could add 16K on the back. And then the way this worked is that you had to connect up your cassette player, and so there was a mic port here. That was not for audio. When you wanted to save your program, you'd have to hit the record button on your cassette player, and then have this fire the data. You would convert it to an audio signal, and it would record on the cassette tape, and then you would have the ear here would plug into the earphone connector on your tape recorder, and then you would play the tape, and it would load in the program. And it was hooked up to your TV with an RF modulator, which I don't have anymore. Yeah, and then down here you would select which TV channel you'd want to hook up to it. So it's good stuff. Hunter wants to know, what's my favorite audio brand? Well, I have to say without question, for a couple of reasons. Sennheiser, definitely, and I use their microphones, for everything. And I have a couple of Sennheiser headphones, and the ones that I have, I think, gosh, I forgot the name of them now. What I love about the Sennheiser headphones is that they are, at least the ones that I got, I had the Momentum, the Sennheiser Momentum. What I like about the Momentum is that the range of audio is very well balanced. They have good bass, but it's not overpowering bass. It's where it should be. Because I have very diverse musical tastes, so I don't want to have a pair of headphones that's good for only one type of music. You know what I mean? So I want evenness, and that's what those provide. So that one's really good. And then I have and then on the microphones, I'm all Sennheiser. So this is the Sennheiser AVX system that I use for my mics. This is a wireless microphone pack. I have a lavalier. I have a Sennheiser cardioid mic hooked up to this pack. And this is the same stuff I use when I'm on the road. I have a stick mic that works with this also. And what's great about the AVX is that there's no frequency to set. It works on like 700 megahertz or something. And it is remarkably good. Even at CES, which we won't be at this year, unfortunately, I have never had interference. I've never had the mic cut off. It actually works on 24 different channels at the same time, and it's dynamically moving you from one channel to the next. It is just perfect. So it's great. It is good stuff. All right. Well, Kobo enjoyed it, kept the quarantine blues away. Well, be on the lookout, everybody, because I'm going to be back again very soon, probably tomorrow. We'll see if I have to get my weekly wrap-up plan tonight. We're probably going to talk about photo storage, online photo storage in the wake of all the Google stuff. So we're going to talk about what I'm doing, and I actually want to get some advice from people, because every time I have a photo organizational strategy, it gets obsoleted and it's everybody. It's not just Apple and Google, it's everybody. So I have like gigabytes of photos that they're kind of in exile, right? I've got a big blob of photos from the late 90s, early 2000s. So I started taking digital photos in 1998. So to give you an idea of how long I got photos there for. So I've got a big blob of photos. I have all on my hard drive, but they're not organized. So I have that. And I spent a lot of time organizing those photos. And then I moved in the mid-2000s up until so right up to about 2010, 2011, I was using iPhoto and Aperture. And then I went all in on Aperture. And then Apple dumped Aperture. So now I've got gigabytes of photos from Aperture that are just siloed. And now I'm on Apple Photos. And so that's what I'm using primarily now. And I really like Apple Photos a lot because it works with raw photos. And so I'm going to be kind of I'm going to probably move everything into Apple Photos, but I want to have something else locally too. I'll figure it out. The reason why I like Apple Photos is that I am primarily shooting pictures on my phone now. I have an SLR, but I just don't use it that often. And so it's nice to have a picture taken on my phone immediately show up on my Mac. It just syncs up really well. So we'll figure that out. JF says, what's happening with Google Photos? So what they announced is that in June, this may or may not affect people. So it's a big deal, but it's a big deal. I don't want to downplay it, but it's not as big of a deal if you were already sending high resolution photos in. But what they're doing, So Google's deal was that if you had a photo of a certain size, you would have unlimited storage on Google Photos. So anything you will upload up until June is grandfathered in under that. After June, any photo you upload is going to take away from your space allocation from Google. So that's going to move people away from Google Photos to some degree who were enjoying the free photos. Now those were not full quality though. Those were like, there was 2 modes that you could set on the Google Photos app. And so if you're sending up original size photos, you are already dealing with that limitation. So that's going to start. So they're not getting rid of Google Photos, but they're either going to have to pay for storage rolling forward, or you're going to have to find something else. So I got to figure all this out, because I'm just so sick of like spending time organizing photos and then have the platform disappear and I'm stuck again. So we'll see where it goes. Travis here mentions Synology Moments. That's a good alternative. I might try playing with that a little bit. But I really like the Apple. I always fall into this. I love the Apple connectivity and how it syncs up. But you get stranded sometimes. So that's going to be happening there. By the way, Amazon has a photo service also. Maybe we'll talk about that. Mark says that Google must be hurting. I think they're seeing just an escalation, right? When they started this plan, it was, people were not taking as many photos maybe. I'm sure they're getting creamed with people just uploading stuff all the time. So yeah, so that's that. One last question here from Vic G. What would I recommend for a church and a choir mic to stream to Facebook? I recommend vMix for everything these days, because you can buy a computer and then you can buy some equipment to dial into it. So what you probably need to do, and I'm guessing if most churches have existing audio, so I would talk to your audio person and see what you can get connected to the computer. And then all you need at that point are cameras that you can sync up with it. And I found vMix plus some PTZ optics cameras, you could probably get the job done for less than $5,000 and it'd be ready to go. They work really well. So, good stuff. All right, everybody. I'm going to, first of all, say goodbye to the Amazon audience. There's still 500 of you watching, so thank you all for sticking around. If you don't mind, click the follow button on Amazon if you'd like to see when I come on live again. I get in so much neat stuff all the time, and I'm always streaming on Amazon and YouTube. So if you don't mind, click that follow button. That would be great. And on the YouTube side, I thank you all for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. I thank you all for tuning in, and I want to thank Thomas Anfang for his super chat contribution. And if, again, the best help for me these days would be to follow me on Amazon. So I'm doing a lot more on Amazon these days. I'm really enjoying delivering my content there. I think it's very compatible with what I do across the board, both for recorded and streams. So if you like these streams where we can all just kind of hang out, I would love for you all to click the button. That'd be great. So that is going to do it for now. I'm going to say goodbye to the Amazon audience. Thank you all for tuning in. And thank you all on YouTube. I will be back again before you know it, so set your notifications. And the next one we're going to do is on the new 8BitDo arcade controller. I got it in, it's right over there. It's in the box. So we're going to unbox it, and we're going to start playing with that very shortly. So that'll do it. So thank you all, and have a good afternoon. And I appreciate you all tuning in and helping me with my live stream.